Hey everybody, it's James here from the Sawyer Family Reviews channel, bringing you another DC Collectibles animated review as we keep chugging along. Today we're taking a look at the New Batman Adventures Nightwing. Let's check him out. Let's start things off by looking at a packaged version of Nightwing. Nightwing is from the New Batman Adventures, of course. So we've got the blue highlighted packaging with the New Batman Adventures style image on the back, which is black on blue. We've got 18 Nightwing, New Batman Adventures, and 8 Nightwing number 18. And we've got sculpted by Gentle Giant Studios this time around. Let's take a look at something. Well, no. I was going to say, does he have the same kind of wrists that Riddler had, who was also sculpted by Gentle Giant, but it looks like he's got the hinged wrists. Back of the packaging. Blue on black. Not much to say about this at this point. You've seen this packaging now. I'm still going to show you every time. Okay? Let's get him out. Okay, so we got Nightwing out of the box here. First of all, we're going to look at our little poster insert dealio to find out that Nightwing number 18 is based on the episode You Scratch My Back, which is a Nightwing Catwoman team-up episode. It's a good episode for Nightwing to be based on because it's a very Nightwing-centric episode. On the back here, it kind of looks like the symbol is painted on the chest, and the figure, it's obviously a raised sculpt. We're going to talk about that more when we get into the figure. First off, accessories. Let's get this light turned just a little bit here. We've got a Nightwing throwing star, his patented throwing star, and then we've got his binoculars, which you could see at the beginning of the episode. And those do have some paint apps on them, which is nice. The lenses are painted the light gray of the front. The body's a darker gray. Yeah, those are nice. Now, the hands, I showed these first this time because the hands can be used to hold these. There's a couple of specific sculpts of hands. So we've got the first set of hands, which is the pinchy hands, and that's good for holding the sharp end of the Nightwing throwing star, like that. And then we've got more of a slightly looser grip hand, not so much where the first parts are just the pinchy parts and the rest is sculpted closed, where the whole hand is open, but it's a little bit looser so you can get in that side of the throwing star. And then we've got a set of even more open gripping hands, and I'm not going to be able to do this on camera without knocking them off, but that's for holding the binoculars. So he's got 3 extra sets of gripping hands, all with a different style of grip, and then we've got a set of fisted hands on the figure. Now, what did I do? I got to step away and come right back. Okay, I forgot to bring over the stand. Here we go. So the stands. Let's talk about the stand. Character turnarounds. That part's cool. It's interesting that they don't block in the black color of his suit on this, because the turnarounds in the style guide have all that blackened out. But it's the same turnarounds here. They did flip-flop the 2 second poses. They turned them the other way. I like the turnarounds. I don't like the rest of the stand. You get 1 prong piece. I'm curious when exactly these switch, because at some point within the line, they switch from these non-resistant, just kind of move it with your hand and then pinch it closed, to a kind that actually has sort of a springing, tighter attachment. And I can't remember when that changed in the line. We're not there yet, though. So far, they're pretty. The bases are pretty, but they're also pretty useless. Okay, articulation, and then we're going to talk some more about the design of the figure. Let's get him off of this stand. We've got ankles that hinge back and forth, and they pivot. They're very tiny feet. Look how tiny these feet are. They're very, very tiny, which is on model. The New Batman Adventures, they had some tiny feet going on, but they're very tiny. These are tiny, tiny feet. So then we've got a single knee joint, and those are nice and tight. It feels like there's a slight ratchet, maybe. There's not a whole lot of range of movement there, though. They don't kick back very far at all. They don't kick forward far at all. The hips are where it's really limited, where it only goes to about there, and then kicks back just to there. So not much forward movement and no back movement whatsoever. Then we've got, they hinge out like this, and they hinge out really far. So that's kind of impressive. We've got waist swivel. We've got shoulders that hinge out to there, and then they do rotate all the way around. We've got a elbow swivel, and then a hinge. Then we've got wrist swivel and hinge in and out. And then we've got a ball-jointed head. And for having longer hair, you know, the last couple female figures we've looked at, there's been no real movement at all. But he does get down a little bit. See, he does go down a little bit that way and then rotate around. He does have what they always call it the Nightwing mullet. I'm not so sure it's actually a mullet and more it's just like longer hair. I guess this part is kind of short here, so it is sort of a mullet. So that does stop it from going too far back, but still a good range of movement. Paint, there's really no paint to speak of on the figure at all for the most part. From the feet up to the neck, it's all black. The blue symbol feels like a separate piece, maybe, that was sculpted in blue and then applied. I can't tell for sure. It does look like it's a separate piece that's done in blue. It might be painted blue, I don't know, but it definitely feels like it's a separate piece of the sculpt. And then the neck is painted underneath there, and then the face just has the black hair highlighted, the black mask, and the white eyes. He does have a small paint application for his mouth, like there's a small line there, and I do like it when they do that. We talked about that on the Batman the Animated Series version, where you kind of can't see his lip. But thankfully, both on the New Batman Adventures Batman, which we'll bring in now, and on Nightwing here, they did a paint app right at the line where the mouth is to give that mouth more definition. Scale-wise, he fits really well next to Batman. He should be sort of a smaller character, bigger than Robin, but not as big as Batman. He comes in right at about the top little curly Q of his hair is almost to the 5 3/4 mark. He's right between 5.5 and 5 3/4. So not quite 6 inches tall, which is good. He should be a slightly smaller character. He should still be an adult, but a slightly smaller one. Okay, let's talk about this symbol. Now, I'm going to bring in that style guide sheet again. I am not a fan of how Gentle Giant sculpted the symbol. I feel like the symbol is just a part of the fabric. Like it's just blue fabric sewn into the black suit. And therefore it shouldn't lay on here and be three-dimensional. It should just be almost a paint app. I don't really know why they did this as a separate sculpt. It reminds me of the old Kenner figures where it would have like a thing you could snap onto it, like an armor you'd put on there or something like that. But I'm not a fan. I don't like the fact that this is a thicker, heavier sculpt on the figure. I really wish it was just painted, or if there was an indented line sculpted into the figure and then they painted over that, but not so much where it looks like it's this kind of thicker piece that's laying on top of the suit. It's not a deal breaker for me. I just don't understand why they did it that way. From far away, you can't really tell as much that it's a separate piece. When you get up close, man, it's thick. It's on there and it's thick. And it doesn't really look like what I think of as the show, because that would have just been a drawn line. You wouldn't have had that three-dimensional look to it. I wonder if it's a Gentle Giant thing, too. Like, if they decided to do it that way. Because I kind of feel like Irene Matar would not have done it this way. I think it would have been more in line with the way it looked on the show and not so much, here's this armored piece that's kind of sitting on top of him. Other than that, I do like the figure. I like the head sculpt a lot. I like the body proportions, that he's a smaller Nightwing. I really like the look on the face. Like, I like how he's kind of stern. Yeah, I do like the figure a lot. It's just this. This is a drawback for me. It's probably next to Penguin, one of the misses so far, where it's like, it's not quite as on model, but the Penguin had more of an excuse because it's, I don't know, his shape's different and the whole monocle thing where it's all not painted white. This really just feels like a design choice by the sculptor that doesn't really stay in line with how it looked, to me at least, on the show. So, I mean, it's Nightwing, though. If you're going to collect New Batman Adventures, you have to have Nightwing, because he's a part of the Gotham Knights team. You got to have Batman, Robin, you got to have Batgirl, you got to have Nightwing. And Nightwing's an awesome character. He was super cool in the show. It was a great evolution of the character Robin from the Batman the Animated Series. So it's a must-have figure, and it's also the only Nightwing that you can get from the animated line. He wasn't reissued. He was out one time, and that's it. No box set, no repaint, no any of that stuff. So this is it. So if you're going to get a Nightwing, you're going to have to get this one, so you're going to have to overlook the thick blue bird section. I think he's like a $60 or $70 figure now. I don't remember. I didn't look this one up. I would assume he is kind of pricey, and it's one of those ones that I think will keep getting pricey because it's the only shot you have at Nightwing. There's no expressions pack. There's no re-release with a vehicle or any of that stuff. I would have really liked to have seen a Nightwing cycle in this line, and then pack in another Nightwing, maybe with a helmet, and maybe change this deal where they did that symbol, but this is all just wishes. Those aren't going to come true now, James. The line's over. You've got to just accept what you've got. All right, I'm going to wrap this one up. Next up is the New Batman Adventures Bane. This big chonky guy. He's going to come up next. And then after that, we're going to do Scarecrow from New Batman Adventures, and then Mad Hatter, and then I'm going to figure out how in the world I'm going to review this Batmobile. Like, where am I going to put that thing? Is it even going to fit on the picture table? I don't know. I don't know. We'll find out. All right, thanks, guys. Like, subscribe, notify. Stick with me. See ya.